Pete, Coach Jackson, Nathan McCreary. Oh, my. And this is our first show since the FCS Championship. What a freaking game. Hopefully, Brandon's going to be joining us here in a little bit. We're going to talk about the FCS National Championship. We're going to talk about the awards that were given out here in the last week or so. And joining us is Kendra Sheehan. She'll be joining us here shortly to talk FCS football. Yeah, she's fantastic. Was here with us last year. And then we'll talk about some top players in 2025 and what 2026 may look like and go from there. But first, Coach Jackson, let's go ahead and start with this national championship. I mean, first of all, congratulations to Nashville, Tennessee, who put on just an absolute unbelievable championship atmosphere. Everyone said it was fantastic. Ain't never going back to Frisco, and if it is, it's a huge mistake. Coach, what were your thoughts on the game, the environment, and all that good stuff?
Well, what a fantastic game we was treated to. And, Montana State played a heck of a ball game. Illinois State played a heck of a ball game. Really wasn't any losers. Like you said, the only loser was probably Frisco, because that game's not ever back there. I thought both crowds brought it. Montana State had trouble with a bunch of false start penalties because of the Illinois State crowd. Montana State brought, goodness gracious, looked like they brought the entire state with them. So I think the official attendance was 25,000, but dude, if you look at that, the stadium holds 40,000 people, and if that was 24,000, I got a bridge over here in Mount Juliet, I'll say.
Well, Brandon has joined the show. Brandon Joseph, we're just kind of getting underway. Kendra Sheehan's going to join us here shortly. Brandon will talk about the awards for the FCS. But just real quick, your thoughts, Nashville Championship, the game, all that good stuff, while you're eating apparently ice cream or something.
Yeah, big ups to Culver's. They're not a sponsor, but sponsorship is available.
There you go. Your mic doesn't sound like it's coming through the computer, but through the headset. But, yeah, just your thoughts on that. And if you need to take a minute, we can do the thing.
Sure.
That could be better.
That is it.
There we go. And as Coach was talking about, Nashville, it's made for events. It's event city. It's one of the best in the world for that, and all the amenities that it has. Of course, Broadway. But also there's tons and tons of other environments in Nashville, from the Gulch to Music Row and things like that. And they really showed out, and I'm glad, a great city was able to be put on display like that. Something we had talked about when they got this game, and I think now the general consensus, and we touched on it even before the game. They may go back to Frisco just because, Toyota Stadium, they did put in a bunch of money to that venue, but Nashville is going to be a part of this for a long, long time. Whatever the incarnation of the FCS playoffs will be. The game itself lived up to the billing, and I think it's great that, and I've seen conflicting things of, people hated that it was on the Monday night to people praising that it was on the Monday night, especially the week after Monday Night Football, where people are still in their routines of watching football on a Monday. I mean, I think, no matter how you cut it, the game really did add to the allure of a lot of casuals watching FCS football and now getting on board with it. I think that you can't go wrong with that. The X's and O's of the game, there was a lot of questionable decisions on both sides of the ball. Credit to both those teams, and to Coach's point, credit to those fan bases for making the trip. I mean, I was in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl, and it was 95% Indiana fans as opposed to less than 5% Oregon fans, and that had an impact on the game. It is a very big impact when your fans show up and show out, and I think a big credit to the Illinois State fans.
Yes,
they didn't know they had the toughest road to hoe. I think Montana State fans going into the playoffs looked at it and go, okay, there's a very good chance we get here, and we're going to have a hiccup or an obstacle along the way, and that was Montana, and they overcame that, and they made it to Nashville. So it was a lot easier for them to plan their way to get to Nashville. Illinois State fans had to overcome a lot, and a lot of adversity in terms of the games they get there. So credit to them for, dropping plans and making sure they got to Nashville to support their team, and a great game played out on the field. I don't know if we want to get into the X's and O's now of, it and what happened, but it lived up to the billing, and it's just a great showcase for FCS football.
Well, I'll just go through. It was a historic night there in Nashville. Obviously, 35-34 was the win. Special teams did come into play, and yes, I did. I'm in the mud a little bit. I did say Illinois State's kicker was a little bit better. They had gone to a different kicker, which we hadn't seen a whole lot, and their other kicker had hit 50-yarders. But you know what? Special teams became an issue, and we actually talked about that during the show. If you went back and listened, you said you can't have a missed field goal, you can't have a bad hold or must punt or whatever. We could see this game was going to be a lot closer than it was. Montana State's first title since 1984. The second title game lost. The second game lost by Illinois State under 3 points. So they have really been so close, just didn't get there. Montana State dictated the tempo early through efficiency, despite holding the ball for only 10 minutes in the first half. They have averaged a staggering 10.6 yards per play, which was fantastic. Justin Lamson was nearly perfect, 12 for 13 in that first half, and it looked like the Montana State was going to run away with this one 21-7, and then here come the Redbirds. Methodical drives, holding the ball. 17-play, 85-yard drive to pull within one score. Logan Brassfield jumps on the offensive lineman. If you had that on your bingo card, congratulations, you're probably a billionaire now. That Logan Brassfield was going to score the touchdown there for Illinois State, but it came down to special teams. Special teams play, and let me just tell you, and Steve McKenzie and I were kind of talking back and forth through Twitter, the messenger there, and that kid looked absolutely frozen. He just did not look very comfortable at all, and it kind of showed. The special teams was not what it needed to be. Illinois State, and Coach Spack had said that. Tough way to lose a football game. You had a chance to win it. You couldn't. And then blocked field goal in the overtime period, and that was the difference. Montana State picked up the win. Just what a wonderful, wonderful game for the FCS. Lots of chatter. I see Steve McKenzie talk about the chatter on the national stage and all the social media. Everybody was so excited about this game and how good it was and how close it was, and the emotion that was coming out of Rittenhouse. Tommy Rittenhouse was tangible. Caden Dowler and his brother, obviously Caden was injured early, and then Taco had a big game. The energy that they had, I just thought it was just an unbelievable display of FCS football, Coach Jackson.
Well, the game lived up to be everything that you want it to be. In addition to special teams, I think the game came down to individual effort. The Dowler kid makes just an bunch of unbelievable plays. There's a wide receiver for Montana State that makes an unbelievable run for a touchdown. There's a kid for Illinois State that makes an unbelievable play to get in the end zone. It just shows you, the SEC is not the only place where it means more. It means a lot to those kids that are out there playing. I thought the coaches emptied the tanks. It was just a great show for the FCS level of football. What a game.
Yeah, CFB Smokes asking, was it the best FCS game ever? There's been some unbelievable games, but on the stage, Brandon, you're hard pressed to find a better outcome. A 1-point game in overtime. Special teams was messy. No one likes to see that. The only worst part is if a referee got involved and it was a ref's call that changed the game. But otherwise, this is what you want out of a championship game.
Let's not let the official off the hook. They were not perfect in this game either.
No, they weren't. Coach Jackson texted me a couple times.
But to answer the question, I don't know if it was the best game ever. It's really hard to put that in a ranking for that. Games are so subjective, and in terms of meaning and impactfulness for the FCS, I think it's huge. It ranks right up there. Appy beating Michigan, yeah, that was very impactful for the FCS. I mean, just because Michigan was ranked top 10 at the time and things like that. So I think that in terms of importance and impactfulness does that, because in the landscape of today's football, things are going to be different 10 years from now, and the show viability is huge at this point. But yeah, going back to the actual play on the field of that game, it was so insane, just thinking back to everything that we talked about over the course of the 3 shows we did when we previewed Montana State, Illinois State, and then right before the game, just everything we kind of mentioned coming up in the course of the game as well. It was a lot of tough things. I think the emotion of it, Tommy Rittenhouse after the missed field goal in the fourth quarter with, little time left, ESPN had the camera of him yelling, "We should have effing went for it."
Yeah.
And that's just the emotion of it. And you can't deny it given what you've seen from special teams. But everything for the book says you kick the field goal there to try to take the lead and ultimately win the football game. It's just...
There ain't no guarantee that you win if you go for it and make it. So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's the deal.
Yeah. And that's the conversation, I think, that probably in most houses were like, why didn't you go for it on 4th and 1? But probably internally, it was the smart thing to do. You're within the 30-something yard line. I mean, you're within the kids' field goal range to take the lead.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and sorry to cut you off, there's a minute and change left in the game. You probably still have to kick the field goal no matter what. Yeah. It's probably coming down to a field goal no matter what. So what's the difference it wasn't the yardage. It's not like he kicked it and he came up 3 yards short and it landed, in the back of the end zone. No, it was a failure of, the snap to the hold to the kick at mechanics. And we saw it play out in the overtime period as well. That failure played out again, but everything by the book says you go for it right there. And I don't want to let anybody off the hook as well. There was a horrible punt from Montana State that almost cost them the game. And, Brett Vegan came on our show and he was very, we started off against Montana. We dominated. Yeah, we didn't play well in the middle, and then we ended very dominant. Again, this was another game where you had every opportunity in this game early, and you let Illinois State hang around, and they came out of the halftime break and outclassed you in a lot of ways. And they almost finished you off. And Montana State fans have to feel a little lucky. In life, you got to be lucky and good. But to win that championship, you got to feel a little bit lucky in that regards as well.
Justin Lamson was named most outstanding player. Real quick, Coach Jackson, he finished with 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Taco Dowler, the ultimate playmaker, had 111 receiving yards, the game-winning touchdown. But that play by Dane Steele, the wide receiver, number 84, a freshman, to barrel through a couple players and dive into the end zone, and you're like, this kid is a freshman, and he looks like a freshman. Looks like he's right out of high school. God, you love that kind of you love that, Coach Jackson. I'll let you get to your point. But that was awesome.
Well, one of the guys that we interviewed, I asked him, I said, who's the sleeper kids that we ought to be looking for on offense? He named him, and the other one named the kid from Illinois State.
Keaton Gilogly, who had a fantastic call, by the way. I wish we could have gotten the audio. He had a wonderful call.
Yeah. And you know what? I go back to, is this the best championship game ever? I'm going to say yes, probably at least in recent memory. And I think it goes on top of, it's probably been the best championship tournament ever.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe one of these days we'll go back and grade the tournaments the way they've been. But it's the entire tournament was great. But you asked me about the Dowler kid. I don't know what makes him so special, but he is. He's slippery. Goodness gracious, he's not any bigger, faster, stronger than anybody else, but he makes plays, and he made his name well known. And and here's another thing. I'm glad he's already said he's coming back for next year.
Yeah.
And the thing about, Taco Dowler, and I think to Coach Jackson's point, just watching him really, in that championship game and a lot of the routes that he runs, because he runs his routes with conviction no matter what he's doing. If you're, anybody covering him, and a lot of times they create those mismatches, but if, let's say, you're a defensive back and you're guarding him and you give him a little bit of cushion, you have to play every step as if a double move can come, a triple move can come, if he's trying to get you to bite, and then he runs to the outside because he runs every route on every snap, whether he gets the ball or not, with such conviction. You cannot sell out and go, okay, the book says, hey, he's going to, run an inside slant. Okay, I'm going to try to bite on that. He'll bite and go outside because you just don't know from snap to snap. And I think that creates that level of separation. I think exactly on that touchdown play, that's what we saw there with him as well. There, in theory,
Ugh.
if you're going to run that type of coverage and apply that type of pressure, the main thing you
Yeah.
want to do is press. The main thing you want to do is be up on the guy and not give him a chance to break free. But because you have somebody that's such a good route runner, you do give him a little bit of cush, and he made you pay for that. And he just ran a perfect route there to where the defensive back was always on his heels reacting and not being reactive. Now we can get into that play call there because I think, there's 2 times they did it and it came up, biting them twice. But, just on the Taco Dollar part, I think the way that he runs routes from every spawn he doesn't, that's what makes him so special, is because he runs them with so much conviction. The defensive backs just have to believe that anything is possible on any given route. And I think that will serve him well, moving forward, and makes up for a lot of, the size and maybe the speed deficiencies that he may have. And it's not a lot, but definitely will help him at the next level.
Well, we're joined by Kendra Sheehan. Kendra, so happy to have you aboard.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're kind of talking about the national championship game. Just real quick, your thoughts on that, the national championship game there in Nashville, and just how the whole thing went. You were there in Nashville, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was in Nashville. I was hosting the FCS National Awards Banquet, but unfortunately, since Tarleton State didn't make it, I was on the flight out on Sunday. So it did feel like I was leaving as the party was beginning, but I was there on Friday through Sunday, and I can tell you I saw a ton of Montana State fans there. A lot of those people in the building. I didn't see too many Illinois State fans there, but I know that they packed Broadway later on. So that was a blast. And I mean, of course, a crazy game, everything that you want for a national championship.
Well, I know you were on the show last year, but Coach Ron Jackson played at Western Kentucky. Brandon and I have been around the Kennesaw State program and obviously started the FCS CheckDown Podcast, Brandon, 7 years ago? I'm not sure what it was, because we love FCS football. Now you have been quite an ambassador for the UAC and hosting the awards in the FCS for the FCS National Awards, which, by the way, you did a fantastic job with that. And Coach Jackson actually texted me, was like, Kendra is fantastic. And I was like, yeah, we got to get her on the show. So what was the 2025 FCS football season like for you? And kind of go on the national stage, but also narrow it down to the United Athletic Conference as well.
This was another fantastic year for the UAC, and I got to see a lot more of the teams firsthand. I was on the sidelines for 8 games this year, and I got to travel to many institutions that I had never been to before. I got to see the Stripes firsthand at Central Arkansas. I got to go out to Eastern Kentucky. I got to go out to Austin Peay, of course, Tarleton State, Southern Utah, places I already been. So it was just a terrific year, once again showcasing. I mean, this league is in its 3rd year, and it continues to show its strength year in and year out. It was a little disappointing, I will admit, when we only got 2 teams in and 2 UAC teams were the first 4 out. I think both of those teams made a great case and should have been in the playoffs, but I'll stop it there. Other than that, I mean, the UAC was really fantastic. I mean, you look at what Tarleton State was able to do out of the reclassification period. I mean, they had every path to the national championship, especially with those top seeds falling early, and fortunately just couldn't get it done on the biggest stage against Villanova. But you look at what Abilene Christian continues to be able to do. They just re-signed Keith Patterson, so he's coming back. I mean, even teams that were at the bottom, West Georgia, Utah Tech, they produced some quality wins. Now West Georgia is faced with a new head coach in Steve Englehart, but they're in good hands there as Joel Taylor moves on to Mercer. But overall, I mean, just another great year. You look at Austin Peay coming back for next year. You got Chris Parsons returning. I mean, that was huge for them as well. So can expect a lot of big things next year. I'd like to see what Tarleton State does. I mean, that was a team that had so many seniors, so many veterans. They're going to have to find a new quarterback and a lot of weapons that were utilized this year.
Well, Coach's son played at EKU and is now a graduate assistant there and looking for a job, I guess, Coach, after the 2025 season. But just as far as the FCS and the way you start seeing these players rising up and so many great players, and then they jump into the portal and how disappointing that is, it has not diminished the value of FCS football, in my opinion. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you look at the numbers of the players that were in the portal the first opportunity. I mean, it's just insane right now. But you are seeing at the national level for FCS football that there are guys that are staying. I mean, that was two fantastic teams battling it out. Illinois State. I mean, you look at UAC for North Alabama. I mean, they played them to double overtime and could have had a win there if it wasn't for, I think it was a low blocking penalty on them. But yeah, I mean, FCS football has maintained a little bit of that. I mean, I think that we're starting to go away from that more as you see more with NIL. But there are programs. I mean, you look at Tarleton State, they've done a tremendous job building their NIL, and they are able to get players to come. And as there continues to be a spotlight on the national championship game, I mean, guys still want to play. You have an opportunity to play at a level, you can get some money, and you can start. I mean, those are things that FBS programs for some of these players aren't offering. So as that continues to grow in some of these smaller schools and the FCS programs build their NIL, then I think we can have a dominant FCS football league where players do come back and stay.
Go ahead, Coach. I look like you got a question.
Well, I was just going to tell Kendra, and I hope she knows, I'm a huge fan of Kendra Sheehan. I saw her several years ago. I don't mean to date everything, but she interviewed my son at the UAC Media Day out in Arlington several years ago, and I thought, goodness gracious, she does a fantastic job. So two things. The next time you're in Nashville, I wish you'd hit me with a DM so I can. I've got a lady that makes a fantastic banana pudding cheesecake. And,
oh my goodness!
Get you one.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. I want you to do that. And anyway, and back, I guess I do have to ask you a little bit of a question. Because you connect, every interview that I see that you do with the athletes, you make them feel at home and so comfortable. So I assume you might have played sports in high school or something like that. Did you play sports in high school or in college? And how do you connect with the athletes the way that you do?
First of all, thank you so much. I mean, I need to get the cheesecake. I'm so mad about that. I always appreciate your kind remarks on everything. Yeah, I played soccer and volleyball in high school. I played club soccer at Florida State. I was a goalkeeper. I actually tried to walk on my freshman year. Unfortunately, they didn't need anybody else. They had brought in some terrific talent from overseas. They won a national championship my freshman year. So I'm always like, hey, I think you could have used one more person on the bench, help drag the balls. I could have gotten a ring. But yeah, so I played those sports. And then just as far as connecting with athletes, I always try and make them feel comfortable, crack jokes with them. Once you start talking to them about, hey, how's your day going? And then kind of making little comments, they feel at home. It also helps. I graduated college at this point, 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. So
oh my
I'm
gosh, over the hill.
I know.
I think we're all in our 50s except for Brandon. So
yeah, I'm nowhere close to that.
I was trying to crack jokes too with them. I mean, there's some crazy things. One time I was doing an interview and I had a bacon, egg, and sausage cheese McGriddle on the way. And as I was driving to the interview, the egg part fell out of the sandwich and into the split in my car where you can't really get it. And so I had to go to the interview. So I'm like, the egg is just going to sit there baking in my car. And so when when I got to talk to the players, they were like, hey, how's your day going? I'm like, well, in a few hours, I don't know. I'm going to go back to my car and there's going to be a really foul odor in there probably. And that made them laugh and just started to make them feel, more comfortable, more at ease. And so that's usually my method.
And Kendra, I think I saw you. Are you a Chicago Bears fan?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Born and raised in west suburb, St. Charles, Illinois. So last night was truly incredible.
Well, who introduced you to sports in football? I mean, obviously, I have two daughters, and they are huge sports fans because I'm around sports and been around. Not many people get to sit courtside or sideline or in a radio booth for Division I football or basketball, whatever. And my daughter's got a chance to be there and see that, and they just fell in love with sports. Who introduced it to you?
Probably my dad. He was a big sports fan, or still is a big sports fan. And then back in the day when the Bears were in the playoffs before, everyone at school, it was wear your jersey the next day. And I didn't have one. So my dad took me to Dick's Sporting Goods. We got a Brian Urlacher jersey, still wear it now. And so just kind of just him growing up watching sports and really made me fall in love with it.
That's very, very cool. I actually went to middle school with a guy named Patrick Manley who spent 19 years with the Bears, and he was their long snapper. What a life he married Tommy John's daughter. He has an incredible story, but he was drafted and spent 19 years as a long snapper in the NFL, and I'm sure made tons of money. But it's a pretty cool story because he was one of the team captains during the Super Bowl. So it was unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. All right, so we'll roll this in. Brandon, do you have anything for Kendra?
I mean, I can't top your dated story about Tommy John's daughter and things like that. So, I mean, I don't think I could top that.
Well, okay. Listen, Kendra, you've been around a lot of athletes, a lot of teams. What storyline have you cherished here in 2025 for the FCS?
Ooh, well, I did do a story for Austin P on one of their players that had passed away. It was pretty sudden when the guy had passed away, and it was in May. And so I wasn't sure if the coach or anyone would want to talk about it. And they were very open to it. And that's just a story of, now they dedicate the number 0 to him. They're always keeping his memory. And he really only played there for not even a full semester. He had just gotten there, and you could just tell the impact that he had made on that team, and he'll forever have a legacy there. And so a bunch of people just reached out after that one and just said, hey, thank you so much for doing this story. And that's one of the ones that you feel good about doing it because it's a story that matters. It's about keeping this guy's legacy alive, and just an impactful story. And I'm glad that they trusted me and allowed me to share it.
Yeah, that is tough. Me and Brandon have both been around the Kennesaw State's program, one of their women's basketball team and their football team, when they've had some kind of tragedy. And it is, they want to get the story out there, and you see the impact the locker room has when they lose a teammate like that. So that's great. So way to bring the showdown, Kendra.
I will say for Eastern Kentucky, I did do a great story on Brady Hensley and his dad. His dad played at Eastern Kentucky. Now Brady's, taking over and following in his father's footsteps. Got to talk to the dad. He was there. They were so welcoming, and just the way that they responded, they were so happy that, we were sharing this story. And it was a really awesome story. Brady is a tremendous young kid, and his family is great. They all welcomed me over to their tailgate, Eastern Kentucky. You guys know how to tailgate. It was a blast.
Well, that's so cool. Well, it is the end of the FCS season. I know it's not the end of your job because you're the director of digital communications for the WAC and UAC. What does the off season look like for Kendra Sheehan?
Yeah, so now it's, we're in full swing for basketball. So I do a basketball podcast for the WAC, and we put out a couple segments, and then soon it'll be crossover season with softball and baseball starting up. So a lot of those duties. And then with the UAC, we try and find ways to continue telling stories. So, maybe we'll do something with Steve taking over as the head coach of West Georgia, just to try and keep the story alive. And then it's just pretty much gearing up for next year. Things are changing, obviously, with the WAC becoming the UAC. So there are a lot of moving pieces that we haven't even really fully know what it's going to look like. So I think there's a lot of questions, more questions than answers at this point, which is perfectly fine as we try and navigate this new chapter. But so kind of that depends on, how our leadership goes moving forward. But definitely try and create content when I can.
Well, I do have to ask you about the national awards, and I'll let you get out of here. Bo Brungard won the Walter Payton What did he win?
Yes.
Yeah, Walter Payton. Yeah. Talk about that experience. Talk about how you got a chance to interview these players and their stories, and what it was like being part of that award show.
Yeah, this was awesome. This is the second year I've had the opportunity to host the awards show. I did it last year in Frisco, and big shout out to Craig Haley and Stats Perform for allowing me to come back for another year. And that one's fun because the Buck Buchanan and the Walter Payton are announced there.
Yeah.
I know the winners ahead of time just so I can prepare, but it's really cool that they bring all of those three athletes there. They have them up on stage. And then, you have someone like Eddie Payton, who is there to help present the award, Georgia Buchanan, who is always there for that award. And that just shows how much that they care and want to keep, their family's legacy alive. And Bo, he just is a terrific athlete. It was awesome to get to talk to him. Just the family story at Youngstown State, following in his dad's footsteps. His dad played there. His dad was a quarterback there. He announced, Bo did, that he's coming back for another year. So that's always exciting. And that's the commitment to, guys don't always want to go other places. Right. And that's always nice to see. But the whole award show, it was really well put together in Nashville. It was live streamed. They had a cocktail hour with plenty of hors d'oeuvres, and Jared Allen was there. So they continue to make that a really nice experience for those athletes and really showcase what their body of work for the entire year.
Well, you did a great job, and it was great following you all season long. Thanks for answering me back on some of the texts we tried to get you on the show earlier.
No, you didn't ask the most important question, Nathan.
Oh, no. Okay,
Frisco
Brandon.
or Nashville? Because I think we all know the answer. I just need an outside person to confirm what we all know.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah. I'm going Nashville.
Wow.
I'm sorry for the experience. Having Broadway right there, it just brought so many people. Actually, it was funny when I was on Broadway, I ran into some North Dakota State fans that were there who had literally bought their ticket in hopes that their team would be in the national championship. And then they decided, well, we'll just take a free trip, a trip to Nashville out of it. But you just saw those videos of the way that everyone was, pouring on Broadway. And Frisco is a nice stadium, but it doesn't have that same feel that Nashville does. And it brought out numbers from the West Coast to the Midwest. People showed up, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and indeed it was, and I think it resonated nationally on the national television stage as well. Of Nashville took this very seriously. The fan engagement was fantastic, and
Nashville looks good on camera. Frisco doesn't. That's all you have to say.
We think it might stay in Nashville. I think they did a wonderful job. So sorry to put you on this, but Brandon has no problem putting people on the spot.
The Frisco HEB compared to Nashville's Broadway.
Yeah,
I think it's very easy.
Not a thing. Well, Kendra, you do a wonderful job. Thank you so much. Congratulations on all the success. Have a great off season, and we will talk to you in the summer as we prepare for 2026.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you all. And can't wait to be back. Thanks so much.
No problem. Banana pudding cheesecake next time for everybody. That's what I promised. That is Kendra Sheehan, the director of digital communications for the UAC and WAC. Kendra, thank you so much. Have a great evening as we continue the show here. Yeah, what a joy she is. Does a great job. Honestly, one of the things that Brandon and I got a chance to see is FCS schools, when they deal with media, draw in a lot of student talent, and sometimes it just doesn't live up to what it should be. Kendra obviously is not one of those. She went to Syracuse. She went to Florida State for undergrad, graduate school at Syracuse, which is very well known for broadcasting, and does a great job. And then, of course, Brandon and I did probably the best job ever of any FCS school, so we were happy to be that voice for them. So we never got invited to the national award show, Brandon.
We don't need those accolades. We are happy, being the everyman and woman show.
That's right. And I look terrible in a sequin dress, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
I can tell you from me personally, I talk to you two chuckle nuts all the time. To get somebody on like Miss Kendra, that's an absolute blessing for the show, and definitely an upgrade. So I appreciate, and she's just absolutely uber talented.
Yeah, she certainly is. She certainly is. All right, so we talked about the football game. 41-year wait, Montana State is over. Congratulations to them. Oh, I did want to get into, we mentioned some of the star players for Montana State, Illinois State. Tommy Rittenhouse was fantastic. Dylan Lord, a name we kind of mentioned in the background. We knew that Sopkowitz was going to be doubled and bumped off the line. We knew somebody was going to have to step up. I don't think we saw Dylan Lord as the one that was going to step up, but he had 13 receptions, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a walk-on that was injured in 2024 with a season-ending injury. What a job to come back and have that kind of game on a national stage. Victor Dawson also. They couldn't have done it without Victor Dawson. He was awesome. If Winkers Wright could have been available, a healthy Winkers Wright, it might have been a totally different ball game, gentlemen. If you want to talk about Illinois State real quick, and we'll move on.
Well, the only thing I can really say about Illinois State, and I hate second guessing anybody because they won a whole lot more games than I have. About the only problem that I have is that you can't go, in my opinion, you can't go cover 0 4th and 10 like that. Yeah, you can't go cover 0.
Yeah.
Right there.
Things you can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I thought they called. I thought they
I think it's a
called
copyright violation, but
That's why I didn't link my computer to share the video. I could have made my screen just that, but I didn't want to do that and get us in trouble. But to Coach Jackson's point, and it's the most talked about play in the FCS, and maybe for Illinois State, it will be the most talked about play I think in their history, other than the missed field goal and the missed extra point. I mean, wow, it's 3 in a short amount of time for them. The problem with that is you have their number one receiver lined up on a safety that's coming across the field. That is 7 yards of cushion that you're giving the number one receiver.
Not even their number one safety either.
Yeah. I think, the toughest part there is, I try to put myself in the head of what was Illinois State going through defensively. Remember, they had to use their timeout beforehand. Montana State, I believe, takes the timeout before this 4th down play. But rule number 1, what you're trying to defend is the 1st down. You want to end the drive there. It's 4th and 10. Rule number 1, stop them from getting the sticks. Rule number 2, stop them from getting to the goal line. I think for Illinois State, they got caught at least on the back end. And the biggest problem for me in there is the pre-snap. You're not disguising your coverage. Everybody else is at the line of scrimmage. It's man across. If I can diagnose that at the line of scrimmage, I'm pretty sure Justin Lamson can diagnose that at the line of scrimmage. When you have the heavy box like that, and there was no disguising in there. They tried to hedge their bet there, and they didn't want to decide, hey, we want to stop the sticks or stop the goal line. And they just tried to come up with a scenario where they could stop the quarterback, and it failed them. And that was the second time they did it, because they did it earlier in the game as well, I believe, on another 4th and 10 where they went 0 and went all out, and somebody was so late getting to the quarterback, he might as well have been pregnant. He was that late there, and it was just horrible of a defense rush there on a 0 coverage play, and they gave up the 1st down that way to keep a drive alive. So I just think it was just 2 bad calls there. There's nothing wrong with hedging your bets and saying, hey, we're going to, drop 8, and we're going to have one level defending the sticks, one level defending the goal line, and force that quarterback to make the best throw of his career to try to keep a drive alive or try to potentially win a national championship. They didn't do that. They made it the easiest throw that he had all day.
By the way, I thought Coach Spack. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
I'm sorry. I just had to. It's too easy of a read. Once they line up, once the guy comes in motion a little bit and somebody's following him, then yes, they know exactly it's man to man, and literally you got your kid out there on an island. It's a tough call. They pay him more money to make that call than I do. Just because I don't agree with it, don't mean that it's right or wrong. But it's tough call. I wouldn't have done it.
And Nathan, before you hop back in, they ran the same route with Taco Dowler on the 3rd and 10, and he had the guy beat to the end zone. They throw underneath, the guy drops the ball, but they could have had that same route there on 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
That part to me is inexcusable. The fact that they did the same thing to you on back-to-back plays in the red zone, not to mention the 3rd down, where I'm seeing it was a 3rd down play on a drive previous there. I mean, that's the toughest pill to swallow for me if I'm an Illinois State fan.
And Coach Spack addressed the media post game, and his first thing was execution. If we're gonna go zero coverage, we've got to get to the quarterback. That's the only thing you cannot do is not get to the quarterback, and they didn't get there, and so obviously it was recognized. Clearly, they thought it was the best play option that they had, and I thought Illinois State's defense, especially in the trenches, probably was better than Montana State, frankly. But coverage, tough kid to cover, and everyone's tired. Emotions are high, and you went zero coverage. And you put the pressure on Lamson off his back foot. He makes the throw, and just an unbelievable ending to a game. Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable game all season long. All right, all game long. So one last thing I want to mention was the time of possession in the second half. Illinois State, I think it was 17 to whatever the minute breakdown was. It was 70%. Illinois State's football. I mean, they had two massive drives, one 17 play, one 15 play. They did exactly what they had to do, and then execution on special teams and then the execution on fourth down. That was the dagger, and Montana State is your national champion. Congratulations to them. We got a lot of Montana State fans and people from Montana and the Dakotas just in general that watch the show. Congratulations to Montana State. They did it. National championships. Brent Vegan is going to get national attention from bigger schools. We'll see if he wants to stay in town. His wife posted something just recently of him at NDSU and then him winning the national championship. And so I think she's happy where they are, but you never know. Brandon, what you got?
Here's the thing. North Dakota State, you don't get to claim this. He was a coach for you guys. Was is the past tense.
And played there, though, right?
I understand, but he's not yours. He belongs to Bozeman right now. They signed the check. I don't see anybody from Fargo cutting him a check to coach for Montana State. You don't get to claim this as another one for the books. This is some backwoods SEC bull that they're going like, oh, Ole Miss could win, a semifinal game. This is one for the SEC. Good for Ole Miss for taking the L in that one. And you know what? North Dakota State, you lost to Illinois State, so you don't get to claim Brent Vegan as one of your own now that it's convenient that he won a natty with somebody else. Not yours to be claimed. Let's just clear that up. Montana State alone.
From Missouri Valley.
Yeah. If you loved him so much right now, like you do right now, then you have a head coach, and I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't like all this praise going Brent Vegan's way. But if you love Brent Vegan so much, why don't you make him the head coach?
Yeah, and someone mentioned he is not going to leave Montana State for a Group 5, Group 6 team. I mean, he is. He may not be a head coach somewhere, but he could go make seven figures, as a coordinator or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's there for the taking. All right, we did have the national awards. Kendra did a fantastic job. Walter Payton Award went to Bo Brungard. Well deserved. I don't think that was in doubt. The Jerry Rice Award had been announced already. Braden Atkinson from Mercer was the winner, and then Andrew Zock from Mercer got the Buck Buchanan Award. And HBCU Player of the Year was Andrew Bodie or Body. I think they called him both during the broadcast, so we're still not sure how to pronounce his name. Yeah, hedge your bets. From Alabama State. And then Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year was Kevin Cahill out of Lehigh. I thought he did a fantastic job. By the way, the voting, Kevin Cahill, Tim Polasek, Bobby Wilder from Tennessee Tech, and Deshaun Jackson were the top 4 vote getters. Brock Spack was not in the final vote for the Eddie Robinson, which I think is a shame. But no one saw what was coming for the Illinois State there in the playoffs. So, all right, so let's get to let's see.
Well, no telling when they voted for the award either. They could have voted for the award 7 weeks ago.
Yeah,
but also nothing like the head coach of the number 1 ranked team with the most talent getting a bunch of votes. Like, any one of us couldn't have at least gotten 8 wins.
You're right. Yeah,
I would have got 9 personally.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess maybe.
I would have gotten at least 1, and it would have been South Dakota State. That's all I promise.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh boy. Oh boy, here it comes. All right. So a couple of things I want to talk about was the top players in 2025. The top passer for 2025 was Kelly Ayotte out of Montana. Coach Jackson, you had so many accolades for that young man. Over 4,000 yards passing. He has announced he's staying at Montana. Just your thoughts on that?
And it's a great move for him. It's a great move for Montana. And look out, secondary is going to be in the FCS, going to be on edge next year. But it kind of brings up another thing. I'm glad we talk about the play instead of talking about the players that are leaving. Let's talk about the ones that are coming back. Southern Illinois' quarterback is coming back, who's a fantastic ad for them. But you didn't ask about that. You asked about the young man.
That's okay.
Dude, Kelly Ayotte makes a difference. And look, Montana, I don't even know what else they got coming back, but they'll be a top 4, top 5 team at least going into the next season, looking to make a little bit further.
Brandon, well, I'll finish up with quarterbacks real quick. It was Davin Farrell who, for Rhode Island, had 3,745 yards. He's also announced that he is staying at URI. Braden Atkinson from Mercer, who won the Jerry Rice Award, he has entered the portal, and Tommy Rittenhouse is graduating. He does not have any eligibility left. Teron Dickens for Western Carolina, another quarterback we talked about, is in the portal. For quarterbacks passing, Tommy Rittenhouse had 40 touchdowns passing, and Teron Dickens had 38. Those are the top 2 in that category. Let's move on to our rushers. It was L.J. Phillips Jr. out of South Dakota with 1,921 yards. He has entered the portal and is signed, I understand, with Iowa. So you're starting to see, matter of fact, the top 3 running backs, Phillips, Joshua Dye, and Rodney Nelson are all in the portal. Dye has 2 years of eligibility left out of Southern Utah. So those 3 players, we're going to see some different names pop up as the running backs there in the yards, Brandon. L.J. Phillips for South Dakota was fantastic. Joshua Dye saved Southern Utah's season, and Rodney Nelson, with their quarterback going down, Derek Robinson going down, Rodney Nelson had to have a great season for Monmouth. Unfortunately, they've all entered the portal, but you can't hate them for it. They're going to go make a lot of money somewhere.
Yeah, and this is the world we live in now with the single portal and where it is. A lot of these skill positioning guys and the offensive linemen, throw your name in there, get the best offer. I think offensive linemen, eventually that will be the thing. And I saw, a couple of really smart people talking about this. If you put together a good offensive line at the FCS, those 5 guys can go in the portal at one. 3 to 5 guys can go in as one unit and make a crap ton of money together and saying, hey, look, we have that chemistry. We're plug and play all together.
Right.
I think, going back to the quarterbacks, the single portal will hurt a lot of FCS quarterbacks because a lot of it is a wait and see game, and you got to make that decision real early. But as you see the struggles going on in Washington with their quarterback trying to leave and ultimately staying and things like that, if you are young and you have the time span of the eligibility where it won't cost you to make a wrong decision, like Atkinson. If he goes and he signs and he makes the wrong decision, he's back in the portal. No harm, no foul. These guys with 1 to 2 years left, it's got to be a plug-and-play offer. They're not just going to go jump in the portal for the unknown. Somebody's got to say, hey, you're our number 1 quarterback. So I think it will benefit the FCS in the long run. We're going to see less quarterbacks, actually, I think, leaving, especially those guys once they hit their junior year. If it's not a plug-and-play offer, they're going to stay at the FCS, and the FCS will benefit from that moving forward. But yeah, this is the world we live in, and you just got to enjoy it while you have it and know that it's a fleeting thing for the most part. And don't be sad because it's gone. Just be happy that it was there.
Yeah. And one of the things I think with what Kurt Signetti's doing at Indiana, well, they have 3 and 4 stars. I mean, just a handful of them. It's not like they've had this massive recruiting class. So, and by the way, Braden Atkinson apparently signed with Oregon State. I missed that. So,
so he's effectively going to an FCS school.
Right. Same colors, by the way, right?
Yeah.
But the mindset may change of, you can build with the right leadership. You can build on whatever. You don't have to go through and get all these 5 stars. I mean, it kind of started with Coach Deion Sanders in Jackson State. I mean, them having the number 1 recruit obviously was a huge uplift for them. But what did it really get Jackson State?
Didn't help win no game.
Yeah, what did it do? It didn't do a whole lot. I mean, and so money is a a big seller. But anyway.
But you see the path that Atkinson's going to go. He's going to go from Mercer to Oregon
Yeah.
State. Hopefully he performs well, and a P4 school will look at him. He's going to go FCS to G6 to hopefully P4. If you don't have 3 years to play that game, and listen, Tommy Rittenhouse may have eligibility when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like 4 guys threatening to sue the NCAA to get more eligibility, all with very similar stories. So Tommy Rittenhouse could be playing for another 16 years when it's all said and done there. But yeah, I just think for the quarterback thing, it's going to be better to stay put, where you are, and with more games like this, I'm telling you, in the short run, it may not be an immediate flip, but in 4 or 5 years, FCS games, sports are the cheapest thing to produce. And if this whole thing, and I don't want to go off on too big of a tangent, if you know of a regional sports network, the FanDuel Sports Network, and you have it locally in your area, there's a good chance that ends up in the hands of Disney. And that ESPN Plus content that's behind a paywall could air for you locally. There's a chance that a lot of these kids at the FCS level could get more and more exposure now through this grouping of channels going to ESPN, because they're going to want to fill their content with stuff that they already have, and that's football during football season on these regional sports network. So you're looking at the exposure value, and whatever will happen up at the top, it may be better or more economical to stay FCS until you get a bona fide high 6-figure offer at the FBS level.
I hate to say this, it may even be beneficial. Go JUCO and get a couple years under your belt, get some maturity under your belt, get some size under your belt, and then make a jump. But we shall see. Just jumping back into
JUCO football is definitely back, and let me say one other thing when it comes to the portal. One, we should do a portal show, but two, another way the portal I think will help out the FCS, because it's a single window. You got to be in school here in a couple of weeks, so you're in there and out. So I'd like to see the numbers of the guys that went in. If you're not out by the 20th and school starts, how many are left, and then how many get picked up before? Because you're in danger of not being in school this next semester and waiting until the summertime. So I'd like to see the numbers when they come out with there too.
Real quickly, just to wrap up the stats for 2025, it was Joshua Dye who led all running backs or rushers for touchdowns, 28 touchdowns. Bo Brunkard was second with 27. Eli Gilman with 21. I think Eli Gilman said he's coming back, by the way, if he's eligible. Barika Panu for NDSU had 20. He has entered the portal for the Bison. And receiving yards, it was Marquez Buchanan out of Rhode Island with 1,337 yards. He's announced he is staying at the Roadies, which is great. Michael Wortham from Montana, they're great wide receivers, can do all of everything. 1,200 yards receiving, he has entered the portal. And Samuel Gabato Jr., UC Davis wide receiver, is staying at UC Davis. He had great things to say about the coaching staff there, so that is exciting to see. Receiving touchdowns, Daniel Sopkowitz for Illinois State has 19. Lorenzo Fenner for South Dakota had 15. He's entered the transfer portal. And Joshua Derry from Monmouth also had 13 touchdowns. He's entered the portal, and I think he signed with Central Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Scary Dairy, they call him. Defensively, James Conway from Fordham led all tacklers with 13.2 average per game. Solo tackles, Dylan Rousey from Murray State. We didn't get a chance to talk about Murray State very much this year, but Dylan Rousey had 89 tackles, solo tackles. That was the tops in the FCS. Tackles for loss, Joshua Stone King out of Furman. He came second in the Buck Buchanan voting. He had 23 tackles for loss and averaged almost 2 per game. Sacks, also Joshua Stone King for Furman, 14.5. He's announced he's returning to FU all the time, by the way. And Josh Williams for Dayton had the most interceptions with 6. And forced fumbles was Justin Waters out of Charleston Southern. He had 8. I think he said he's coming back. Nick Reed, special teams, field goals. He was 25 for 30. Ben Diakila was the best punter in the FCS with 48.7 yards per punt out of Northern Arizona. Javon Ross out of Bethune-Cookman had 33 yards per return with 2 touchdowns for the HBCU Bethune-Cookman. And then Bugs Mortimer for SFA had 4 touchdown punt returns and averaged 21.5. He is in the portal. Okay. So that is a wrap on the 2025 season, gentlemen. I've looked around. Right now, like Coach said, we're following the portal news. We're doing some other stuff, but right now, that's all you can do is kind of watch the portal and see. I did see that. I think it was. Oh gosh, someone just picked up Tarleton just picked up a big transfer quarterback from Wyoming. So those are the things we're going to see, and we'll watch that. Coach Jackson, we'll have to talk about doing a portal show maybe in February once we kind of get our feet underneath us after this this season, which was unbelievably fantastic, and the fans made it so much fun. But okay, 2025 is a wrap. Coach, just go ahead and put a bow on it. Your thoughts on 2025's FCS season?
Just an absolute blessing and a step in the right direction for FCS football all across the United States. I believe there's more parity involved. I think there's more teams that can compete. I think there's more conferences that are that can compete. I think that there's a lot better exposure. So I'm looking forward to an even better 2026 when it comes to FCS football.
Brandon, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great year. In what world did you have the clear-cut number one North Dakota State going down to team that they beat during the regular season? I think that opened up a lot of eyeballs for the tournament. And once North Dakota State went down, and that's not a knock on anybody in Fargo, I think a lot more people got interested in it. And that's credit. You only put on a boring show because you're dominant, you're a great football program, and you have that history, and people want to see you lose. And that's a badge of honor that the people in Fargo have to wear, that everybody wants to see them lose. And once they lost, I think a lot more people go, okay, this could be fun. Let's get weird. And it lived up to the billing, and it got a lot of national attention. Now you got to want to see this parlayed into something bigger. This means nothing if we go by the wayside and we just go back to doing things the way that we've been doing it for the last 20, 25 years of, gladly being everybody's little brother and being the stepping stone or the doormat for the FBS. They don't know what they're doing. It's a joke. A lot of the stuff that's going on in there, a lot of the pitting against each other at the FBS level. I saw a lot of people saying this, and the FCS needs to band together. I don't know if it's all these conference commissioners need to get together and come up with the branding and tell the NCAA, hey, this is what we're doing. This is true football. This isn't the business aspect. This isn't the backroom dealings. This isn't private equity firms, and media outlets putting together feelers of how many people are watching bowl games to try to, incentivize the G6 into forming their own playoff. And, I can go on an hour-long diatribe about this there. FCS is real football. These are kids that love football, coaches that love football. And you know what? Yeah, they get their pockets greased a little bit, and that's good for them. But this ain't a business. This is football at its finest. And I hope that these conference commissioners are smart enough to get together and tell the NCAA, you play by our rules now. We're not going to be the secondary thing that you throw in the TV rights deal to ESPN and make them happy. We're going to dictate how many more of our playoff games get on national television, whether it's through ESPN, ABC, or we go to Turner, TNT, CBS, and Paramount and say, our playoff is valuable. Our games are valuable. And to build this brand into something that can be beneficial. These players don't necessarily go there because they want to make $1 million, but what these schools can have is their expenses fully paid, that you don't make the playoffs and end up losing money doing so. And you can turn this into something that is very viable and enjoyed by pure football fans, and that's why we keep doing it. And I hope 2026 is just another trend in the upward slope of FCS football.
After the national championship game, you saw shows like Barstool Sports come out and go, my God, we haven't been paying attention to the FCS, and it might be the best brand of football, college football, out there. And I think they're exactly right. That's one of what we've said all year long. It's the truest form of love of the game, passion for the sport. That's why I got involved with it. That's why Coach Jackson got involved with it. That's why Brandon got involved with it. Plus the girls that come along with it. That they're the groupies. But we have to. But for the most part, it's the love of the game. Just kidding. But it is the truest form of love of the game. And you're starting to see these guys who say no to money to stay at a school like Furman, like Stone King's doing. I think it's great. And you start to, when you see the national attention, the national media conglomerates go, my God, what are we missing? That's opening the door, and now the FCS has got a chance to jump in and do some good things and really promote their brand, because that national championship was, I think it could be a real propelling board, what they call it, those boards, to something great, and keep it up, because everything in the FCS, in my opinion, like Coach was saying, the playoffs was fantastic, and it was a marketable product. So we shall see what happens. But just to kind of wrap up this year, we went to a video format for the very first time, with no idea what we're doing, and we had 0 subscribers. You guys have been unbelievable. Stephen McKenzie, I want to give you a special shout out. Came on the show, have been a moderator for us, has been in the chat almost every show, spurring conversations, talking with people. You guys been respectful, except for one of the messages I saw about Kendra earlier. I don't know how to delete her, get rid of it, but it's there. But I'm sure she has a good spirit. She gets picked on all the time. But you guys have been unbelievable. The FCS fan base has been unbelievable. We want to grow this show, and I've always said, if we could get into a monetization of this show, I'm not looking to line my pockets. I'm looking to give back to the listeners. I want to have contests. I want to give away gear of your favorite teams. I want to do great things. I would love to see us as the FCS Checkdown be able to go to a football game, be the broadcasters for the game, and let's be able to have a full week of shows about how we're prepping and talking to the coaches, and let everything be open. I'd love to do that. Brandon and I did that with Kennesaw State. We got a chance to do it with high school football. I think it would be so interesting. I think the fans would be interested in it as well. So the sky's the limit, but you do have to like and subscribe to the show. It does help us out a lot. I saw the numbers. We had big-time numbers for our national championship shows, approaching 2,000 viewers for the videos, and about 80% of the viewers don't like or subscribe or unsubscribed or not subscribed to the show. So it is a huge deal if you do. It is free. It doesn't do anything except it gives you an opportunity to know when our shows are on. You hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and you will be notified when we are broadcasting live, because our schedules, we kind of go around and different, but we try to put on a good, consistent show. We want to be professional. We want to give the FCS its due, and we love what we do, but we love it because of what you, this year specifically, has been amazing because of the fans, Coach Jackson. And I think you and I have talked a lot offline about this. What a job the fans have done from our viewers and around the FCS media have done in supporting FCS football.
Yeah, we've been blessed, and we've been blessed to enjoy some good football. We've been blessed to have a lot of good fans. Literally from 0 subscribers to a little over 330 subscribers now. We got, like you said, over 1,500, 1,800 people watching the shows. I hope that we're able to continue to deliver a quality product for the fans. I hope it grows. And listen, next year around championship time, I plan on having a championship party here at the house. Maybe on Saturday or Sunday before the Monday game. I don't know, and I will add to the experience.
Yeah. So the plan is right now, just to kind of give you what a 2026 looks like, is we're going to look at the new coaches that are around the FCS and try and have them on during the off season. And we'll obviously advertise those shows. We'll do a portal show as the 2026 season camps approach, and then it'll be time to toe meet leather. So we do have some plans coming. More AI screw-ups hopefully are coming for us. By the way, I had something planned, but somehow, some way, just technology, all my graphics have disappeared. But I grabbed these, and I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciated. There it is. You guys, Brandon, I know you're a father of 2 young ones who has had to go through a move. everybody I talk to says when you're on the show, you bring so much. They love hearing what you say. You're so analytical. You know I love you as a brother. Thank you so much for what you do. I made this little silly thing right here. It's going to go over your face. Here you are, Brandon, FCS Checkdown. Sometimes here, but always in our hearts. Brandon, you have done such a great job, and thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for bringing the passion and the analytical mind that you have to our show.
Oh, I appreciate it, and I love you guys, and always appreciate y'all being accommodating, with my 2 kids. And come August, you're gonna have to be accommodating of me with 3 kids. So
What? Let's go!
Yeah.
Hey!
But through the move and this temporary setup here, hopefully we get the studio finished. We started construction down here. But yeah, more football stuff, and it can only get better. And thanks to everybody in the chat. I miss being on with you guys every week, but life wouldn't allow it. But as we get there further, I'm just excited to talk ball. And football is from our time during high school this year, Nathan, but years of Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
Everybody knows I spent time at Georgia Tech as well. Spent time working in multimedia rights. I love the game, and it's only going to grow. And I got some good friends in this space, and hopefully, we can lean on them to help grow us as well. I know that they listen. A lot of them talk to me offline about the show. They don't show up in the chat. They don't tweet about it, but I know they listen because we talk about it all off the air, and I appreciate all those guys. But, we want to bring, a brand of content that isn't out there for FCS. And
right.
With respect to everybody else who tries to do this content, we try to do it differently than what you're doing.
Yeah.
So don't get butthurt, when you hear me talk about, whether it's Fans Nation or, FCS Fans Radio or whatever, they do it from their fans' perspective. They don't try to bring the knowledge that we bring. And it's not a knock on them. They can get upset about it if they want, but a lot of them do go, hey, you guys do it differently than we do. And it is respect. Some of them don't like it, but just know that, at the end of the day, if FCS football is growing, then it shouldn't matter, who's bringing the content. But it's all because of the fans and showing what we do and, the growth that we have. It shows that there is FCS fans out there, and they strive for the same level of content and coverage that the FBS gets. And we just try to be a little part of that. And thank you for the congratulations in the chat. I see.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Coach, whatever you've got on your face, I'll just put this. Okay, I got my head on. I got this guy. How about that? That's
you sold out. Wow, you sold out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Congratulations.
I refuse to buy any school's FCS gear. However, if you want to send it to me for free, send me a DM.
Yeah.
Listen, I lost a bet. I picked Illinois State, so I told one of the Montana State fans that I would show back up in my Bobcat gear. I've done what I said I was going to do, so now that I've done that, I can take this mess off.
In solidarity.
And then, hey, Brandon, congratulations.
Thank you.
The only advice I could really give you is you might want to turn the thermostat up in the house.
Well, Coach, I'm glad you took that thing off, but I got one for you too, Coach Jackson. What a joy it has been to talk football with you, and we flew solo a couple of times. Without Brandon is not easy, but you brought your A game, and I appreciate the time that you put in because although you get most facts wrong, you tend to have a good attitude about it all, and do have an incredible infectious laugh that I think everybody enjoys, and it's just been so much fun this year. So thank you so much on and off the air and behind the scenes. You've been a true great friend. I cannot wait for us to lock arms and as friends here shortly, because it's going to be so much fun.
Pleasure's all mine. It's I'm not going to let the facts get in the way of a good story, so that is what it is. But the pleasure's all mine. It's been fantastic. I love working with both of you.
Well, chat, you guys have been awesome too.
You have a card for yourself?
I do. But that was going to be a
put it up
surprise
there.
later, but this is mine. I'm just the water boy. I'm just the water boy who gets a chance to work with two great minds and be around the chat and listen. What a joy. What a joy. We're going to wrap up 2025. We don't know when the next show is. Cover
Don't
Zero.
ever go Cover Zero.
That's the new name of the show in 2026. But seriously, everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much. More people than I can thank for tuning in to listen to us pontificate about the FCS. Steve McKenzie, again, thank you so much for what you do. Steve Hodges has been there. Kobe Kluth has been fantastic. CFB Smokes, great content. Chris Monstrangelo came in early in the season. Tons of people that we got. Ron Lowney and Stephen Vitt. Yep. So Slime Drip X, yeah, all you guys. I wish I had time to thank everybody, but we don't. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the FCS Checkdown. It has been one heck of a ride, and we'll do it again soon for the 2026 season, guys. This has been the FCS Checkdown for Brandon Joseph. I'm Nathan McCreary for Coach Ron Jackson. This has been the FCS Checkdown. Y'all have a great offseason, and kickoff is right around the corner. Let's go.